Okay, I'm so excited to have another young entrepreneur in the house today who is also a father and was very, very concerned about the epidemic of sugar, the consumption of sugar specifically with children and the early onset of diabetes in children and the obesity epidemic. He's a young Vietnamese. I was in Vietnam in 2000, and it was not an epidemic of sugar. Like, I travel all over the world, and what I loved when I was in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, but I traveled all over Vietnam, was this consciousness about natural food. And there wasn't like this craziness with all of the sugar, products and sugar this and that. Like when I was in India, it's like sugar is almost worshipped. The products is like, this is the food of the gods. And so it is, as you and I were discussing right before we came on board, sugar is an epidemic all over the world.
Yes.
I've seen things like, the Inuit Indians, the Eskimos, in Greenland and up in Alaska, where they need their teeth, because they literally survive on fish, and being able to eat raw fish. And then Americans come in there and they give these poor kids candy and chocolate and this refined sugar, and instant addiction. And then their teeth are rotten and they can no longer really eat their, natural diet. So it's like, we're talking a serious epidemic. Yeah. So having you in studio, I was very excited, when my producer Sheila said, okay, I've got somebody that I want to introduce you to who has actually developed a product that's a wonderful bridge for parents who are dealing with the sugar addiction. And it is an incredible addiction. And they're trying to take positive steps in the right direction. So Trung Nguyen is the creator of Sugar 2.0, which is available at Bristol Farms, Northgate, Super King, and coming soon to Costco, which is huge. So before I go into some of the studies about the effects of sugar on the behavior of children and juvenile delinquency, that should be very interesting for the listeners. Trung, would you give us your story about how and why I kind of introduced it a little bit, but a lot of people are concerned, but they don't do anything about it. So how is it you were able to do something about it?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Dr. Grant.
I'm so excited to have you.
With the product itself, being a father of four.
Four?
Yes, I have 4 kids.
What's their age range?
7, 8, 12, and 13.
Wow. Okay. So problem, teenagers?
No. We're not going to have that in this household.
I like that.
But just having kids and
yes.
The struggle with having to deal with kids and sugar. I'm a food product developer, so I make product and I export it to Vietnam. So
okay.
Yeah, so that
makes sense.
Yeah, so that's really how this all ties in.
Okay.
And so when as my kids were growing up and just seeing the dangers of sugar and how much sugar is being consumed on a daily basis.
Oh, it's like the majority of their diet.
Exactly. And it's frightening and it's scary. But it's one thing to say, it's scary and it's frightening, but
what are you going to do?
Exactly. What are you going to do about it? And so that's, so of course, using my own experience as a product developer, I think, just start looking at and see how to tackle the problem.
Yes.
And so my first aim is about reducing sugar.
Yeah. That's the first step. You got to reduce it.
That's
and
right.
then with diabetes, what I love that you did is you introduced dietary fiber, like inulin, which has been used for over 100 years for diabetics, in terms of slowing the absorption of sugar.
That's right.
Because when the refined sugar, you throw it into your system and it wreaks havoc on the pancreas and the insulin production, and you end up with hypoglycemia, which I had when I was really young, and you get these low blood sugar crashes, and kids are getting them, and it makes them so irritable and so difficult to deal with because they're having a sugar crash.
that's exactly what this product is about. So it's not just about cutting sugar. And
but putting the good stuff in.
Exactly.
And probiotics. You put in probiotics. So smart. I love this.
What's interesting is as soon as the product was done and created, it's just like a no-brainer. Like, if you have to eat sugar, this is really the way you should be eating sugar.
Let's counteract the bad effects of it.
Exactly. So that's really, the product is all about. It's just reducing it and ultimately, if you can,
and
eliminate
some good
it.
Stuff with it. So I'm not going to sit up here and tell anybody eat sugar.
No.
That is not in my vocabulary. But I think that what you're doing is a necessary step. In the right direction, because I've done many shows about candida. And so when you throw in the epidemic of sugar and then the epidemic of children being given antibiotics for everything, you sneeze and they're going to give you antibiotics.
Right.
Okay. Right. And then what do the antibiotics do? They go in and they destroy your secondary immune system, your gut. And then you have this overgrowth of candida, which is yeast, mold, and fungus. Right. And what do they feed off of? Sugar. Okay, they can't live without the sugar. So then, the candida is very intelligent. It's secreting this substance that is literally telling the children, anybody who eats sugar, give me some sugar.
Get me
Where's
more.
my sugar?
That's right.
Right now, don't even think about not giving me my sugar. And people who are really logical people will get up in the middle of the night and go find some sugar.
That's
They're
right.
like crackheads. Sugar is the new crack.
Yeah.
And of course kids become crackheads, as babies. And I'm using this fondly, okay? But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What does a crackhead do? They got to have their crack.
Yeah.
So so metaphorically I just say, well, we all are crackheads, in America. What is your crack? Sugar has been my crack. So I totally understand and appreciate anybody who's trying to tackle this, but the fact that you put probiotics in the sugar, that is the weapon against the candida, because they have to have sugar.
That's right.
And you are going to crave it because they're secreting the substance that says go get me some sugar. So you're pretty helpless. And so by giving the person who's addicted to sugar, and pretty much everybody is, the probiotics and the dietary fiber to slow down the rate of absorption of the sugar, now you got something that it's not the best thing to do, but it's the only thing you can do right now.
Right.
When you're dealing with a kid that's having a sugar craving. So, you as a parent, let's talk about, you can do all the good stuff at home, but can you control what happens when they go to school?
That's correct.
And when they go to their friends' houses? So how have you dealt with that?
Well, it really is a difficult task. So for school, of course, now we just packed everything from home, right? So
I have a story to tell you about that. My daughter was in elementary school. She had lupus at 10 years old.
Oh.
And so she couldn't eat all of this. So I took her off of everything. I saved her life. She would have been dead. And she was literally bedridden, and the lupus was attacking her brain. So I had to pack her lunches. Now, you got to remember, this was a few decades back with Lunchables and all the sugary, goos and this and that. And so kids are very resourceful. So I'm just telling you how smart they are.
Oh,
so I'm packing her lunch. It's all healthy stuff. And then I will not give her money to buy anything at school, after school program. So I just decided, let me go check on, how everything's going at school. She has volunteered to help out in the school cafeteria so that she can get free lunch and have all the sugar and chocolate. And I'm like, well, are you kidding me? And they're like, oh, that was so cute. She volunteered. So I put it into that. Okay, I have a fit, right, at the school. And I'm like, and I'm all over the cafeteria people, correct? Then they are in the new after-school program, right? And in the after-school program, they give out snacks to the children. You know what the snacks are. Sugar, soft drinks, candy. She volunteers to run the snack bar. So they will get it. It's I feel for parents, who are at least conscious, because even when you're doing your best,
right.
You even have grandparents and godparents and relatives. When I banned sugar in the house, my kids were like, "Oh, fine, I'll just go to grandma's."
That's right. That's right.
Right?
So they spend more time with their friends and their friends.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. So are you finding that you're having to educate? I literally had to become the police at their friends' houses. Yeah. Like her best friend, she was going over there just so she could eat all of that stuff. And then I had to, have a meeting of minds with the parents and say, look, I know they're best friends, but she can't come over here anymore. If you're just going to be giving her everything that, is making her sick, I'm sorry. Love you, love your kids, but we can't be friends anymore. It's that bad.
Yes, it is that bad. I mean, but even with kids, with my little one, I start teaching them about sugar. I teach them.
And that's a 7-year-old, right?
Yeah. Okay. And even at this age, you start to teach them how to read a label, and it's surprisingly not a lot of people know how to read the label.
Well, they don't read the labels.
Yeah. Well, now the millennials are starting to read labels, but you know what? They still don't fully understand what the label means.
Right. Well, see, my advice is if they've got the names of stuff that have so many syllables that you can't even count them, let alone pronounce them, and you never heard of this stuff before, you probably shouldn't be eating it.
True. Yeah.
Let's think about this.
Yeah. Now what's nice is that the trend is going with clean label.
Yeah.
So, having, before was all these ingredients. But now it's much
simple.
Simple. Exactly.
And see, here's the interesting thing about the food industry. They're very smart, in terms of getting people addicted to their stuff, and they've already got people addicted to sugar. And so what they do is they say, oh, let's put, do everything that the smart people know. They're they're on to us.
Right.
Okay. and then they'll sneak in something else.
That's right.
Like my daughter came home and she was like, Mom, she had this energy, like vitamin drink in a aluminum can. Okay. And aluminum is a heavy metal that has been, studies show that it is connected to Alzheimer's, okay, and insanity, all right? and I'm saying, Crystal, don't even talk to me. It's in an aluminum can. And she's reading, but Mom, look, it's natural, and it has the B vitamins, and it has the da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, don't talk to me about it. I'm not going to drink it.
Right. Right? To top that off, you're putting something that's acidic inside this aluminum can,
and it's going to leach it.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, you understand. Okay, you feel me, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you have all these people that they get up on it, and then Crystal finally conceded, and she said, well, Mom, I don't think that they're being insidious about it. I think that they probably are well-meaning, and they just don't know. You know more than most people know. But... So I feel for you as a parent, but I'm so proud of you as a father, because when the male in the family takes the initiative, this is what studies have shown, is that the kids are far more likely to go along with the dietary changes than if the mother is initiating it and then the father is not supporting her. So salute you on that.
Thank you.
Well, so let me ask you, how supportive was your wife in all of this? Let's be honest.
She's not.
I understand, because my husband was not on board, and that does not make it easy.
So unfortunately, she's the type of person who just kind of follow the trend.
What it is.
So it is what it is, and most people are addicted to sugar, and they love sugar.
There you go.
So if
it's
not
like, don't take my crack.
That's
okay?
right.
Ain't
That's
nothing
right.
wrong with it. It ain't broke, so don't fix it.
Exactly. But the thing is, it is broken, right? It is broken, and that's why we have all of these issues and all of the, that's related to sugar and obesity.
God. Yes.
So.
And let's so let's get down to basics, very quickly about how this works, in the body, because there is also there was a study in Sweden that in 1997 found that there is a link between pancreatic cancer and the high consumption of sugar and sugary foods, okay? Because we're talking about the ice cream and the soft drinks and even like the energy drinks.
Oh, yeah.
And so as you and I were talking about earlier, the aspartame and the artificial sweeteners, they are not an option. So when I see people drinking, like the artificial sugar, I just go, look, you're way better off with just that white crack, than the artificial stuff, because the artificial stuff, like whatever type of weakness your body has for a particular disease, it's going to set it off for you. And so do the research on those sugar additives. So let me just say that. Okay, but the fact that studies prove that there is a link between pancreatic cancer, which is the deadliest form of cancer, because by the time they find out that you have pancreatic cancer, you have very little amount of time to live, and there's very little that they can do about it. Very few people I know that have gotten diagnosed with pancreatic cancer have survived it, and pretty much the survival rate is a year. So you really want to be concerned about that, as an adult. But at the same time, with your child, when you understand the link between the pancreas and digestion and the regulation of sugar, and then you're constantly, kids, it's like people aren't even aware that, okay, carbohydrates are sugar.
That's
okay,
right.
you're Vietnamese. Okay, do you eat any meal without rice? Okay,
Right.
I mean, rice is a carbohydrate.
That's right.
Okay, and so it's going to turn into sugar. Here, we're dealing with rice. That's a sugar. We're dealing with potatoes that are sugar. We're dealing with pasta, that's sugar. We're dealing with bread. And so look at a kid's diet, and we got corn. So look at what they're eating. Sugar,
Right.
sugar, and then dessert and more sugar. And the studies show that little kids, whatever money you give them, they're going to spend it on some kind of sugary food product.
That's right. That's right.
So it's any wonder that they're developing, that they're obese, but that their poor pancreases are just kind of shutting down on them. And, the pancreas regulates sugar, and they're getting low blood sugar, which makes them irritable, as I said before, and they have sugar tantrums. And look at kids out in public. I mean, didn't it kind of scare you when you see them? They're just like bouncing off the walls,
Right.
and, having tantrums.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that I noticed, like, just like elementary school, and it's just when you look around at some of the kids and, the behavior and just, and then a lot of kids are now overweight and, and it's
70%.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
It really is sad because, kids are born into this world. I mean, just beautiful. I mean,
and it's not their fault.
Unfortunately, as parents, we should be the one to, put what's available to them. Unfortunately, we're not doing
better choices.
Exactly.
Yes.
But we're not doing a very good job at that. And so kids are just eating whatever that's in front of them,
Of
what's
course.
available. And
so give us a little bit more about your background in food development.
So I actually develop food for customers overseas, and so that's my primary business.
So you
just export. Yes,
okay.
I export, and so
you have your own company that does this?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my primary. That's my bread and butter. That's how I
Okay.
funded all of this stuff
Okay.
here. And so when I had an opportunity to do this and launch a product for the States, I mean, this was
This is huge.
This is huge, exactly.
Because your market overseas.
Yeah, I mean that's easy. You just sell it and you never see it again.
Exactly.
Right. So,
yeah.
but this is the first time where I get to create a product that that I didn't have to compromise. I didn't have to think about with regard to taste or cost, or I had to deal with any of that stuff. It has to be perfect.
Yes.
Because when I was creating it, I created for my kids.
Yes.
It's something that I would put into my own body.
So a lot of love.
Oh yeah, definitely. If I cannot have it for if my kids can't have it, I mean it's not worthy to get it out to the public and have everyone else eat it.
And I think that's probably the best endorsement for your product, because I'm a self-taught raw food chef, and a part of my mission on the planet has been, and my producer Sheila Gilmore is here, who is also also working with you, and she knows the work that I put into at the college level of educating college students, who are dealing with obesity and health problems that were directly and are directly related to sugar. And it took me literally 10 years to educate a college population, train chefs, and expand the menu just so that we could have organic and gluten-free and raw food, that did not have processed sugar in it, with natural sugar alternatives. So this is something that's very, very close to my heart. And so I'm pulling for you and I'm pushing for you with this product, because I do know that if you introduce dietary fiber and then you throw probiotics in it, that was something that I actually did with the products that I developed at the school. I was like, okay, they're not gonna not eat sugar. So I came up with the same concept 10 years ago and introduced it and tested it on the college market, and they absolutely loved it. And so the legacy that I created at Mission College is being carried on by Chef Jesse over there. I'm giving him a shout out, and he's still doing the workshops that I created and conducted for years. And I'm continuing to do this by creating online classes and videos, teaching people. I have a new one called Eating to Live, and balancing your lifestyle, between food and relationships and spirituality, because there's a direct connection.
That's right.
Pretty much everything we do, what do we do? We when we have meetings, we do it over coffee or dinner or lunch. So food is an integral part of our socialization. And so having healthy food choices is very, very important to me, and that's a part of my mission on the planet. And it seems to me, Sheila was right, you and I have a similar mission.
Yes, we do.
And when you do something with love, and Chef Jesse would always tell the students that he was teaching, in culinary, put some love in it.
That's right. That's right.
Where's the love?
Yeah.
And when people try my food, Sheila's had my kombucha. Come on, you got to give me a shout out.
Yes, I'll give you a shout out on the kombucha. It is the best kombucha I have ever had.
Okay. And why? Because of the love that I put into it. And everybody who comes to my house, no matter what I make, they just go, oh my God, why is it that your stuff tastes so good? And it's because of the love that I put into creating food that is nutritious and non-GMO and organic, but that tastes good.
Right.
Doesn't have to taste bad to be good for you.
That's right. That's right. And that's very important with any product,
with
right?
Children, right?
Exactly, with children.
They're not going to eat it. I don't care how good it is. They're like, what? They'll throw it in your face.
That's correct. That's right. And when you're making product, and that's why this product took so long to launch. Because,
how long did it take you?
Literally 2.5 going on 3 years.
Oh, that's nothing.
So
it took me 10 years to launch my product. Okay.
Because dealing with having to satisfy all 4 mouths.
Yeah. That's true.
That's really, really
you
hard.
You had to get your endorsement.
Exactly. And then, of course, my parents live with me.
Oh,
and
my
so,
goodness.
So I have 4 kids, and then I have 2 elderlies.
Of
and
course.
so, having...
It had to fly with them, too.
That's right. And so only...
Because, come on, if your grandparents won't endorse you, that's not good.
I know. That's right, because especially with my mom, she was actually very difficult. She's kind of set in her ways, and she's all about I just want my sugar.
Toughest customer.
That's right.
Right.
So once you get that approval, we're ready.
Yeah,
so,
there you go. Right. Yeah, and it's funny, and I really appreciate you developing the product, because what I did at the college level, I started out educating, the students and saying, okay, so, and then making wholesale products available to them through a friend of mine who ended up starting a company, Ultimate Superfoods, with me pressuring him, and then sending the kids, go, here's what you need, and then I was teaching them how to make their own foods and raw food and stuff, and they loved it, and then they finally said, Dr. Grant, what, we can't make it taste as good as you do, so can you make it for us? We don't want to make it. And so I realized, wow, okay, people they're used to, in America, having everything pre-made and pre-packaged, and they don't want to do the work.
Right.
And so I think you're on the right path in terms of you got to create the products, because we're just not a culture that wants to get in the kitchen. You're not going to make people get back in the kitchen. They want me in the kitchen. And Sheila, you can probably say something. You too busy, right? I ain't got time to be in no kitchen.
Well, actually, I hate to even contradict you,
Ooh.
but I actually love to cook.
Get out of here.
I do.
But do you have time?
I don't.
You see, that's what I'm saying.
I don't, but I do love to cook, and so for all of the holidays, I'm the one cooking.
Okay.
If, when I get together with my boyfriend, and he says, "Oh, why are you cooking all that?" Because I get to.
Yeah. Okay.
But to your point, cooking and trying to cook healthy, and for me with all of my food allergies,
Sure.
is very difficult for me to find the ingredients or take the time to cook just for myself.
That's what I'm saying. Even if
I
you love
cannot.
it, you don't have time to do it.
Yeah, and the big thing for me, the biggest challenge for me is trying to buy fast, healthy.
Oh my God!
I can't.
Okay.
I
you
can't-
got to
I
drive to the other side of town.
Yes,
And-
and then they want to charge you an arm and a leg.
Oh, it's true. Yes.
and I love chocolate.
And
I love
you've had my chocolate.
chocolate, yes.
I do make some really amazing
You do
raw chocolate.
You need to market it. Yes.
Right? And so now I'm getting encouraged. I wasn't ready to do that, but maybe we can hook up.
Use
something
some
happen.
Sugar 2.0 in it.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you love chocolate, you'll love what I brought in. I brought in
what?
I brought in ice cream, chocolate ice cream,
Get out of here. Made with 2.0?
and probiotic.
All right
So
now. So is this going to be one of your new products?
no, actually, the
Aw.
product is. You see, we want to make.
I did ask that question.
That in itself could be a business
Of
because
course.
because
Absolutely.
that's the perfect medium for
Sure.
for probiotic because
Yes.
once you activate it,
Yeah.
keeping it refrigerated, freeze it. I mean that's going to keep it live. With the probiotic, you have
Yeah.
that it helps with protein utilization.
Yes.
So of course you got milk, a lot of protein
Oh, yeah.
in there. So having that protein makes a lot of sense.
And you're also very conscious of the need, especially with children, to produce products that are non-GMO. And I understand you're working on getting the organic certification.
Yes.
And so I want to say to the public that just because something doesn't say organic does not mean that it's GMO, because it's a whole process
Yes.
that the FDA makes you go through, and
Right.
it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to a lot of farmers, who at the farmers market, and they're very conscious in terms of producing their product, but they said we just can't afford, the organic certification. So it's very important to let people know that your product is conscious, and that you are in the process, right, of producing a raw
Yes.
form of Sugar 2.0.
Right. So we have a couple product in the pipeline. We have the raw, we have the organic in the pipeline. It's just a matter of waiting for that certification to get completed. Everything's been submitted. It's just waiting for that, because
Wait, who is it? The FDA?
no, this one it's a third party
Okay.
verification.
Okay.
We're using the non-GMO project.
Oh, good.
So
Okay. All right. Good.
they're very reputable.
All
and
right, so that's a good thing. Okay,
Yeah.
at least it's not in the hands of some big monolith. Okay, well, I want to just point out to people that there are studies that have been done, okay, and this was one that was done in 1980, and one of the reasons why in my doctoral research I was actually inspired to research the connection between sugar and these processed food products and juvenile delinquency, because of this study where they studied these kids in juvenile detention homes and their blood sugar levels and the diet, the highly processed sugar diet, that they were being fed, and all the soft drinks. And so they did a control study where they fed one group the regular diet that they were giving the kids in the juvenile homes, and then all they did was just reduced the sugar by 45%. And the results were remarkable.
Wow.
With the change in behavior, the improvement was a 77% reduction in disciplinary incident reports. Now, that was like a real study. The results were sent in and collaborated. The U.S. Senate Select Committee was sent these results to say, now, if we can just please, reduce these things, it would make. All right, Sheila, I'm going to let you. introduce this. So I just want people to know that your product is a reduction.
Yes.
In sugar, and it's a great place to start. And you know, you're not going to be able to cut out the sugar 100% cold turkey. It's like trying to take somebody off of heroin.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why they use morphine. So it's the real deal. Okay, I know this. I've tried. So I'm, suggesting start with sugar 2.0.
Right.
And then move in the right direction, because you need the probiotics to rebuild, your gut. The inulin, you need the dietary fiber, because that keeps the body from getting this big rush of sugar too fast.
Right.
And just keep your kids away from these, sugar drinks.
Yeah.
Because it just creates too much of a sugar rush. So, Sheila, what's a point
I just wanted him to talk a little bit more about, the journey and how you get into the grocery stores.
Okay, that's right, because we're talking about entrepreneurs. What is the process? Yeah, thank you,
yes,
Sheila.
I wanted to get you back on track.
Get me back on track here. And that's what a producer is good at. Okay.
Well, it's definitely been a difficult journey. I mean,
and even though you're a food, you're in that business. This is a tough business.
It is a tough business, but we're definitely blessed to have Navigator Sales and Marketing on our team.
Okay, and who is that? What is Navigator?
They are our sales brokers.
Okay.
And just having them on, it's really great, and I love the name. They do help us navigate the grocery market.
Okay.
And so trying to get into the different stores, and it's getting it into.
So they're kind of a middleman. Sheila, can you say a little bit about that?
Yeah, exactly. They're the broker. They actually have the relationships with the grocery retailers.
With the stores.
With the stores, and they have relationships nationally. They've done some amazing work, and they've been able to have meetings with Walmart. I think they were
with the big guys.
With the big guys.
Okay. So what's your role, as a marketing person in all of this?
Just marketing. Just marketing.
Okay.
Same kind of thing. I'm helping them with the social media piece of it.
Okay.
Any of the strategy on how you go to market, which vehicles to use.
And so, are you working with his broker?
I'm the marketing arm of the broker.
Oh,
as well.
wonderful. Okay. Well, okay. So you met her through that company? You met Sheila?
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. So you got to have some friends. You got to have some help.
That's right.
It truly is. I mean, for those young businesses that are out there, it's all about relationships and who you know.
Absolutely.
And the connection that you make, because literally one person can change your life overnight.
True.
Literally, that team can go into a store and walk out with
Make it
1,000
happen.
and walk out with 1,000 stores for distribution.
So they're like the Shark Tank.
I hadn't heard it that way, but you could.
Well, no, think about it. Okay,
that's true, because
that's
they
why
decide.
the show is so popular.
Yeah, they decide which brands they want to take in, and to their credit, they really take in all of the spaces on health and wellness.
Right.
And so, Tron's product, when they first met him and was introduced to the product, they fell in love with it hands down.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, I have to say, I came up with the same idea. I was like, why aren't other people doing this? Trong made the most amazing organic ice cream out of sugar 2.0 and chocolate, and I don't know how he knew the chocolate was my favorite.
I'm telling you, it is so good.
Oh my God, so rich and creamy. So I think the point that you want to bring home is that it's a substitute that you can't even tell the difference.
That's right.
And so do you use the same amount of sugar?
Yep.
Same recipes?
That's right. It's the same recipe. You're just using it, 1-to-1 ratio. So, you don't change your recipe. You're still using whatever your favorite recipe, grandma's favorite recipe. Exactly, And even like making ice cream, for example, it's just a few simple ingredients.
So what did you put in this? It's organic milk.
Milk,
Okay.
creamer.
Cream, okay.
Cream, and then just and chocolate.
So and your sugar, and then did you put it in a blender?
We mix it up with a mixer.
Okay.
And then you just pour it into.
I have a Vitamix, so you can I can do this.
You can make this. This is very, very
All right, so
simple.
you're gonna leave me some sugar 2.0, right?
Oh yeah.
I need the probiotics. I need the fiber. And admittedly, I have been struggling, even, with lupus, because it is candida based. It's very, very difficult when you have diabetes or cancer or lupus or multiple sclerosis, any of those diseases that are based in an overgrowth of yeast, mold, and fungus. The very thing you need to do is stop eating sugar, and that's the very thing you can't do, because the candida secretes this substance that makes you crave the sugar. And so I have always had to look for healthy alternatives for the sugar. So I know all about that, and so I'm very happy that you're now putting this out on the market. And so people can request, like they can go to their favorite grocery store now and say, look, I would like for you to order some Sugar 2.0, and they know how to contact the distributors, right?
Yeah.
You just, because they'll say, well, what is that?
Yeah.
Just say Sugar 2.0.
That's right.
That's what I want. What would you like to leave the audience with in terms of your journey to health with your children?
Well,
parents. Let's talk to parents.
With parents, and we definitely want parents to really join this movement to cut sugar. I mean, cutting sugar.
Take responsibility.
Exactly. Take responsibility and, eliminate sugar if you can.
Yes.
But if you can't, I mean, cutting sugar by 50%, that's a
Which is what you've
huge
done.
step.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you've added probiotics, and you've added dietary fiber.
That's right.
So, come on.
And with the probiotic, what's interesting about the probiotic is that only now with a company like Ganeden, that you were able to put probiotic in with the sugar, because most probiotic on the market, by the time you get on the shelf, it's dead.
Yeah.
Or you eat yogurt. What happened to that? You pasteurize it, and the yogurt and the it's gone. It's
there
dead.
You go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out, because I make my own yogurt because of that.
Perfect.
And I have to make mine out of coconut milk or almond milk, because the milk is pasteurized. Very difficult to get, unpasteurized goat milk, which is what I prefer.